All right, let's talk Texas Longhorns. It's obviously been a crazy offseason for Texas in terms of looking towards the future. All eyes on the quarterback and Arch Manning, all eyes on this entire organization. Can they take that next step and finally make a run to a national title? Well, to that end, the Longhorns have pulled off a massive move. Great sign for the future of Texas, certainly for this season. And we'll get to this report in 1 second. But first, I'm Nick, that is Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, we got to be talking Texas when I'm wearing my burnt orange short, and we got great news for you Longhorns fans. Without further ado, let's pull up this report courtesy of SI.com. The Texas Longhorns have secured their first transfer portal commitment of the spring after a busy winter. Per Matt Zenitz of 24/7 Sports, Stanford transfer wide receiver Emmett Mosley, the fifth here, has committed to Texas and officially signed with the program. He visited Austin over the weekend, and it clearly didn't take long for him to come to a decision. As a freshman this past season, he had 48 catches for 525 yards and 6 touchdowns. Mosley had a career performance in an upset win over number 19 Louisville, when he finished with 13 catches for a $168 and 3 touchdowns. Again, that is courtesy of SI.com. Big get for Texas. I think we all understand that this is a team that needed to get some wide receiver help with 2 big names going to the NFL draft. Obviously, Arch Manning ready to take that next step. Big move by Sark and company to bring in a quality, arguably one of the top, or at least one of the more underrated top weapons available during the spring season. Credit to the Longhorns for getting it done. Miles, I know you've got a few thoughts on this, but first, Texas fans, in the comment section below, as we are getting closer and closer to the regular season, it's still a little ways away, but guys, it just feels closer, doesn't it? What's one game you're really looking forward to next season for Texas? One matchup, right? Is it a game you're going to? Is it a game that just a rivalry game, or is it just a tradition that means something to you? Let us know what one game this upcoming season are you looking forward to more than any other. Put it in the comment section below. But Mize, what are your thoughts on this latest massive move? It's a huge move here by Texas.
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a big move for the Longhorns because, like you said, they lost some big-time talent, but Texas, being how they've been the last couple of years, they have big-time talent waiting in the wings. But I think this is necessary for them to have, a more veteran guy, a guy that's been around, been playing football at a high level, have them come in. We've got so many great young wide receiver freshmen coming in. You got the 5-star Khalik Lockett. You got a 4-star Jamie French. You've got a lot of great, talented wide receiver guys coming in here. But I think just you never necessarily want to have to lean on freshmen if they are maybe just not quite there yet. Just because someone's a 4-star, just because somebody's a 5-star, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to come out day one and be ready to go hit the field. I think that some of the guys that Texas has gotten are, but I love their ability to hit the transfer portal and get one of the more underrated elite, big time wide receivers out of the portal, because we saw this offseason. What was Texas able to do? What did Coach Sarkisian do? He went out and dominated the recruiting world, came out the number 1 overall recruiting class in all of college football in 2025. Undeniable. They killed it there. But as far as their transfer class, it wasn't so great. It was 54th in the country as far as transfers. But when you put all your effort into bringing in some big-time recruits, it's a little bit more difficult to land a really high-ranking transfer class as well. But they brought in some guys, but no one that I feel like was really just a true playmaker, a big-time, adding depth on this offense with a playmaker. This was the first guy that they've done that with, and Emmett Mosley, the 5th. Like I said, very interesting, the 5th there. Don't see that too often. But I really like what's going on in Texas now. They're taking this second transfer portal window and almost like, we're going to ignore the first transfer portal window. We're going to come out and dominate recruiting. Then, once we see what's happening, once we see all the spring games, once we see all the spring practices, who's available, who's leaving, who's staying, we're going to go and hit that transfer portal window very hard. And it's already off to a good start for the Longhorns with the acquisition of Emmett Mosley, the 5th, out of Stanford. So I think this showing we have to see what happens. I think we're going to see a much more beefed up transfer portal class for the Longhorns, going to get up way higher than it was at 54th. So I think this is a strategy going on over here with Steve Sarkisian, hitting this second transfer portal window open. I would be waiting to see the Longhorns also seeing their roster develop, see where they need to bring in guys. Obviously, wide receiver is somewhere they thought could be helpful to bring someone in as a veteran there. So overall, good move by Texas, strong move by Sarkisian. I really want to see how this transfer portal class ranks at the end of this window.
Yeah, I think it's also a smart tactical move, right? Because if you look at what happened last year in college football, there was sort of a story of just these freshman phenom wide receivers, two in particular, Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State and Ryan Williams at Alabama. And people love to talk about what Smith did at Ohio State, who went on to win a national title, and he was phenomenal. But Ryan Williams was a guy who had a really great stretch there early in the season and kind of petered out, as a lot of freshmen tend to do. They hit that wall, right? It just happens. And if you're trying to win a national title, which Texas obviously is, you don't want to rely your entire offense or a large chunk of it on our superstar, all-world, five-star freshman wide receiver. Can he avoid hitting that freshman wall? And that's exactly what Sark really worked here to mitigate. Because if you look at the other guys on their list, you got Moore, who's coming off the injury. You got Wingo, who's a good, solid player. Nothing against him. Good grading overall. There's a question how he will do with more volume. It's obvious they need more production. They needed to bring in a guy like we can't rely on a freshman here. If you look at just the numbers of the receiving core, they'd be turning it over to freshmen to try and get 60, 70, 80 catches over the course of the season, if not more. That just isn't a recipe for sustained success. Maybe you get fortunate and it works out, but that's not something I'm going to bet your entire postseason chances on. So what do? You bring in a veteran, Emmett Mosley the fifth, and he's a veteran, right? I understand he was a freshman last year, but he already has that mentality. Both his parents played big time college sports. So again, this is a guy who's grown up around this atmosphere, this environment. He knows what it takes. He's only, again, coming off his freshman season at Stanford, but he's more mature than his class rank would lead you to indicate. Very productive. We brought up his numbers earlier. This is a guy who can take over games like he did against Louisville. He can be a consistent performer as well. Reliable, has good measurables, 6'2", 200 pounds, good foot quickness, good hands, just a good, solid receiver. And you just insert him into Texas right away, and it's an instant 50, 60 catches. And this is sort of almost like an NBA team that's trying to make a championship run, right? Where you look at your team and you got, okay, we got good bigs, we got some good shooters, we got our one superstar, we got a good bench, we got a six-man who's reliable, solid coach. But we just need another guy that can drop 12 to 15 a game. We need a guy that we know with his shot-making ability can just score a little bit just to kind of even things out when the going gets tough. Texas was missing that football equivalent at the receiver position, and they got it here in Emmett Mosley the fifth. The guy is, again, a walking 50, 60 catches over the course of the season. It lightens the load on Wingo. It lightens the load on Moore. It lightens the load on the wide receivers. It lightens the load on Arch Manning, who doesn't have to rely on true freshmen to catch 10 passes a game to keep this offense rolling. Smart strategy here by Coach Sarkisian. Again, you want to avoid this if possible. You'd rather have a little bit more depth. You'd rather not have more get hurt and things like that. But you have to play the cards you're dealt. And Coach Sarkisian here with this move has done a phenomenal job reacting to their circumstances and giving Arch Manning the infrastructure he needs to be successful.
Yeah, Nick, and I think we see what's going on here. This is the start of something, like I said. Steve Sarkisian earlier this week, he gave some comments on what he was looking for. So he said, our numbers are down at receiver right now from a scholarship standpoint. Our numbers are down at defensive line from where our numbers really should be. And it's obvious we're really down at tight end. So they came out with the idea to hit the portal and really bring in guys in those three position groups. So I say, Texas fans, keep your eyes peeled. It's looking like this is the direction this team is moving. Obviously, they need to bring in more wide receiver help. This is the first step there. The other two things we should look for, defensive line and tight end, are some other groups that this team is going to really try to hammer home in the portal. And I think it should be getting guys just as talented as this. They should be getting some of the top guys in the transfer portal to want to come over and play for the Longhorns. I think this is going to be really interesting offseason period for them. I think we're going to see, like I said, that transfer portal ranking boost up. We're going to see a lot of additions here to really round this team out. And I think when all is said and done, this team is going to be one of the best teams in football because they brought in so many young guys, but now they're hitting that second transfer portal window that is now available and really utilizing it to their utmost ability, saying, hey, we've gone through a whole spring. We analyzed where we needed guys. Here's some key spots. We're going to go out and hit it. And they've already landed a guy really before even the transfer portal has officially opened. It's still just 2 days away. On the 16th is the official open of the transfer portal. So already a big commitment for the Longhorns by Emmett Mosley the fifth.